So, okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Simon,
And I'm Dawn Zanklin.
and this is Black Don't Crack. So, we've been away for a little while. We have someone who's going to join us in our Zoom chat, and I've posted, you can find the Zoom link in the description. And if you want to join us on Zoom, just click the link and we'll let you in.
So right
So,
now we've got our comedy friend Hamilton. Hey Hamilton.
Hello.
how are you?
Uh, okay. I just woke up.
Oh, no.
You know what? Me too. I woke
Yeah.
up. I had a cat nap between 4 and 4:30 today, and I woke up just like 25 minutes before logging on just now. So I hear you. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
If I don't turn on the
Yeah.
camera, that is why. Like I
That's
woke up like
okay.
25 seconds before the show started, so
No
No
problem.
worries.
No
You're in for a
problem.
good one because today is July 4th, and we're not talking about what's happening stateside today. We're talking about how hard it is for folks over 40 to make friends and what to do about it. People always say to Simone and I that with it, we don't look our ages, but I am actually 46 and a half.
Uh-huh. And I am if I almost said 45, I wish. I'm 53 and a quarter, I guess. So
Yeah, and we're over 40, but I don't know, Simone, if you've had the same experiences I have or have heard the same things that I've heard about how difficult it is to make new friends when you're over 40. Have you heard that at all?
I have heard that. And I think it's not just over 40. I think it's like once you're like, say, out of your 20s or out of school,
Hmm.
that it seems harder. For me, like to answer that question, I can say yes, it's harder, but also no, it's not.
Oh,
Like it's harder in the sense that you have less time. It's harder to meet people. You have different responsibilities. You
mm,
may not be able to, like where do you go to meet people sometimes? Like it's hard. Like if you're not like the bar hopping type or the club type, you'll have to find like different avenues or areas to meet people. But
right.
then, what, in my opinion, what makes it easier sometimes is the fact that over a certain age, okay, today we're talking over 40, but let's say just out of school, let's just broaden that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Over out of
Like you're,
school, like in your 20s?
no, like say in your 30s, let's say
Okay,
like late
30s.
20s, 30s, you're a fully functioning adult. You may or may not be married, you might have kids, you might not have kids, but you're a fully functional adult. You're not a kid anymore.
Right.
Um, it could be easier in the sense that your bullshit meter is like on point, like finely tuned, that things that were important when you were a teenager or in your early 20s, like what somebody looked like or the kind of clothes they wore, if they drove, what kind of car they had, like those things you realize after a certain age, that shit's not important.
Right.
So I think you have a better sense of filtering
Right. But I
people,
think that
like,
that filtering is part of the reason why it gets harder
yes, yes.
because fewer people make the cut.
It's true. And the thing is, like, I know with myself,
Mhm.
I find myself awkward. I think I'm awkward and just awkward.
When?
And all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think of myself as awkward, and it's difficult. I find it difficult to meet people because I'm awkward and I'm like shy by nature or just quiet by nature.
you do
That
not strike me as shy.
really.
Really. Really. You're smooth and polished compared to my
What?
awkward. Yes. We need to
Well,
have an
thank you.
awkward off, like post COVID,
A nerd off or
a
something.
nerd off. How cringy can this be?
I can get pretty cringy. Oh, thank you for saying that. But it's like, um, I find it difficult. And so, like if I find people that I have things in common with, or we share a passion about something,
Right.
then I tend to gravitate more towards those people
Right.
And then once I've gravitated towards those people, like what are what's their value system like? Can you get an idea of their value system? What, their priorities in life, like their passions and
Yeah.
priorities. And from then, because for myself, like within the last, it's, I can speak for the last year,
Yeah.
I've made a lot of new friends, and I've made a few really good friends, you and Ashley and Hamilton included, and I'm
Mhm.
sure I'm missing out someone, and someone's going to be upset that I left them out.
We
But
can't name anyone, like everyone. It's only a 1 hour show.
exactly. Exactly. But the thing is, it's like, I know, like if I woke up in my apartment and there's a dead body here, I know who I could call. You know
That's
what I mean?
important.
Like hopefully that never happens. Like I don't want that to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but like if I were in like deep, deep shit, like I know
Yeah.
who I can call.
Those circle of friends would make sure you never have a body in your apartment to take care
Exactly.
of.
They'd be like, what body? What freaking body? There's no
Oh
body here.
man.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, and I think when you get older, as you get older, who those people are.
Right.
You know,
It's
you know
easier
who
to
you can
discern
trust. Yes, and
who you can
it's easier to
trust.
discern. It's easier to know who you can trust. I've made some mistakes too, where it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have trusted that person. But I'd say, making friends now and trusting friends, like the good friends I have now versus the people I thought were good friends 20 or 30 years ago,
Hmm.
maybe like two or three have traveled the last 30 years with me,
Wow.
you
I would
know?
say that my circle of friends from my high school through adulthood, it's changed significantly. I remember my first serious romantic boyfriend telling me he was kind of surprised when he met some of my high school friends because he said, "I don't like this is this is your tribe." They didn't see very
He's like,
much in common because I
these?
guess in university I'd kind of, I was living my
Yeah,
best life. and,
yeah.
and I wasn't I wasn't some of the things I was interested in university and some of the things I spent my time doing weren't necessarily reflected in the conversations I had with my earlier groups
Yeah,
of friends, even though I still loved them, still liked them. It was just a continuum, right?
yeah.
And oftentimes, I was reading something that said by your 30s, your social group is largely set. What do you think about that?
Um, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I think, um, say the people who've been with you till your 30s are
Hmm.
probably going to be with you for life. And
Hmm.
then you will meet other people who will have like a significant place in your life,
Right, right.
and like over the last, like I cherish my friends, and like people, if I consider you a friend, like I love you and I will move the ends of the earth, I will move the earth for you, and I've lost two very critical, beautiful people in my life over the last 4 years.
How?
Yeah, like through death.
Oh, okay.
One of my best friends passed away. It'll be a year on the 20th of July.
Hmm.
And
Sorry for your
she
loss.
was, yeah, thank you. She was like a sister to me. And we met when I was 17, she was 19.
Hmm.
And we were fast friends. We met in school. And there was a few years where we had lost touch because I know
Right.
she had moved to the Maritimes and all kinds of things. And then we just reconnected. Like she found me at because I used to work at UPS, and the company she worked for, she was shipping through UPS, and she asked one of the agents, "Hey, does Simona Holder still work there?" And the agent she spoke to knew me, and she was like, "Yeah, let me transfer you again," sort of thing. And we were reconnected then, and we hadn't been apart since. And then another friend that we also went to school with, he passed away. I think it was what year did he pass away? I think in 16, in
At
2016.
2016?
Yeah. Yeah. He was living in Australia. He was like my first like boyfriend.
Mm.
of thing. And we stayed very close over the years. And yeah, he passed away in 16. So it's like I know what it feels like to have like to lose like a love cherished friend. So it's like the people who are still around and I consider friends,
Mhm.
I don't miss an opportunity to tell them or to let them know that what they mean to me, you know?
Oh, there's a couple of comments in Zoom,
Yeah.
and the Hamilton observes that he thinks it depends on what your 20s and 30s are like. The statement,
Yes.
I think, of the social group more or less being solid in your 30s assumes that people in their 20s will go to school, finish school, start work, get married, start a family, and so on, that their
Yeah.
life remains relatively stable. So by all, it's not at all a one-sized fits all
Yes.
approach to life for
Exactly.
everybody.
Can you hear me okay? Because I'm starting to hear an echo or something.
I can hear you okay. Can you? How about me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, there's a fan in the background, so let me know if it becomes annoying.
Yeah, no, I can't hear it. I can't hear
It's
it.
too hot to do this without a fan.
Oh, I know. I know. But yeah, no, that's a very good point. It depends on, yeah, like I'm speaking for myself where I went through, high school, CEGEP, university, job, and so that's always evolving. But yeah, depending on the route you've taken through your 20s, yeah, it's different for everyone.
No,
It's different for
absolutely.
everyone.
And the article that I was reading mentions that there are higher levels of individualism, so that complicates how easy it might be to make friends over 40. That people are, I think, very particular, very set in their ways. I would tend to agree. I know that for me, I've got a specific routine. Over 40, I have much less patience than I did in my 20s. I'm not going to put up with a lot of things. Maybe, like, I think still at 46, I'm putting up with still too many things.
I agree.
I,
Me too.
I keep paring my friend list down.
Yeah,
I
it's
get
the same
grumpy. What
with
can I
me.
say?
It's the same with me. Like there are things like that that I wouldn't put up with today that I tolerated, you know, back in the day. For whatever reason, I probably knew, oh, this is annoying. I don't like this, but I tolerated it anyway. And I think it also has to do with knowing yourself,
Right.
being comfortable with yourself, and knowing how you deserve to be treated. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah. You
if you
teach
don't,
people how to treat you.
yes, 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 yes. Yes. It's
Yes.
true. Yes. It's true because like if you are not going to tolerate XYZ behavior from anyone, not just like a romantic partner or a friend,
Hmm.
um, as soon as you see that behavior, as soon as that behavior presents itself to you,
Hmm.
you're like you like nope it out of there. You're like
Right. Right.
bye, see ya, or you keep a distance because sometimes you have to be in communication or whatever with people that don't share your values, that don't share your way of thinking, whether it's at work or whatever, that you have to maintain some sort of civility. But I don't know, I just think after a certain age or at a certain, maybe not age, maybe at a certain life point,
Right.
um, you can recognize that.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
it's interesting that you say you mentioned romantic relationships. It's interesting that there are lots of courses and therapy sessions even available to people in partnerships, in personal partnerships, but not a lot of training when it comes to how to maintain a friendship, how to be a good friend. These are things you kind of have to learn on the
On your
fly,
own, yeah.
but I really think that they follow similar rules.
Exactly, exactly. And like my friend Linda, who passed away, she used to say that to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like if I was putting up with some bullshit, which I did, I think we all have, but Like when she would confront me with the bullshit I was dealing with, she was like, you know, if your sister was going
Mm,
through this, what would you say to her? If I was
right.
going through this, what would you say to her? What if, you know, XYZ told you about this situation, how would you react to it? And it's true. I'd be like, oh my God, no, like I wouldn't, I'd tell them like they're crazy. And she's like, well, why are you tolerating it for yourself? Sort of
No,
thing. And it's
absolutely.
like, yeah, and it's, you know, it shouldn't just like Ashley said in the comments, there should definitely be friendship counseling like there is relationship counseling.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
the thing is, if you're not a good friend, if you don't know how to maintain a friendship or know like the effort and the work that you have to put into a friendship, you're not going to be able to put that same how are you going to maintain a relationship, like a
Absolutely.
romantic relationship?
Fundamental rules apply, and sometimes folks are lucky enough to have their both friendship and a romantic relationship in one.
Yeah,
So I'm sure that similar rules and similar guidance apply.
yeah.
There's a timeless classic that I have stumbled on, and I'm reminded that it's on my list of books that I want to read, and I haven't read it yet. Have you read How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Oh, is that the Dale Carnegie
Yeah.
book?
So,
I read it years ago.
yeah. Did
Yeah, I
you
read it
did you
years
think that
ago.
was helpful when it comes to those ground rules and how to maintain and establish friendships?
Of what I can remember, yes,
Hmm.
because I think it's just fundamental, basic, you know, treatment and interactions with people. You know what I mean? That whether you're meeting someone who's going to be your friend or you're meeting
Yep.
someone who's going to be a partner, you should, I think, at least approach it the same way. Like you shouldn't have the friend face and then like the girlfriend face or the partner face.
Mm.
Like it should
Okay.
be the same face. You know what I mean?
Right, right. It should be all
So
integrated.
yeah, yeah. So it shouldn't be like if I'm with my friend and I'm with my boyfriend who doesn't exist, like I shouldn't be like two people. You know what I mean? Like if my partner sees me with my friends, they shouldn't be like, huh, she's not like that with me. Or if my friends see me with my partner, they shouldn't be like, she's not like that with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should be the same person with each. The only difference is, you know, the sex. You know?
Friends with benefits. I've watched Sex in the City. I know what happens. Um, so there's a quote in the comments. Well, a couple of quotes in the comments. Hamilton says, part of being a good friend involves going through the trenches together, Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
And then he said that he thought I was going to say it was a novelization of She's All That, which I need to see because
I
I
need
don't
to
know.
revisit that. That's like a 90s movie.
Oh, yeah? Oh, my
with
God.
I think
It's
so. I
about
think
making
it's with
friends?
Freddie Prinze Jr. or something like that. I think.
Oh, interesting. And then Craig said, yes, it's like buddies from military school, sports, or working at McDonald's. So people have the same experience, shared experiences, and they can relate to each other. And then
Yeah,
that's one opportunity
that's
for
like a
friendships to
starting
form.
point. Exactly. I think it's a
Yeah,
starting point.
yeah. It's
Just
like I
like
think some
how.
of.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying just like say the people I've met in the last year, like you and Ashley and Hamilton, we met through comedy
Right.
because we have this passion and love for comedy, and then getting to know each other a little bit better. It's like we've forged a friendship. You know, we've all forged a friendship. So I think, yeah, like another one of my close friends, we met working at McDonald's, and it was one day. I think I was walking. When was it? We both worked at the same McDonald's, and I think one particular day, I think I was walking to work and she was walking home from work, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. And we
Yep.
met on the street, and we stood there and talked for like half an hour, and then we were like the best of friends ever since. And that's been like since what, 1986 or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just you just click. You just
Yeah.
click.
Oh, there's a correction. That quote that I mentioned was not a quote by Dale Carnegie.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
the two comments blended together. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And let's see. I should check to see if there are any comments on Facebook.
Oh, that's what I was about to do.
You were about to do? Okay. Well, I
Yeah, I'm
will
gonna
look at
go
the
in.
next item that contributes to friendship. Um, they apparently, according to this, a life hack piece suggests that when you're older, it takes more than one thing in common to make friends. I don't know about you, but I'm finding that when I finally do make friends, when I decide to let that happen instead of like avoiding it, because it's complicated sometimes, is that I end up having a lot more than just the one thing in common. Like you have a conversation, you find out you have similar influences, similar mannerisms, similar outlooks, in addition to the shared experience. And I always find that it's even more compelling and more interesting when that happens. But I
Well, that
notice,
happened with us.
yeah,
That
exactly.
happened with us. So we were talking, and it turns
Yeah,
out we do the same kind of job.
right.
We both work we're both public servants. We both do the same or very similar job in a similar in a similar sector, different
Right.
departments, but and it was like, oh my God, that's so cool. We had all of this in common.
Yeah, but we also connected too with family origins from the same sort of place, like widely
Yes.
generally place. And also we had purchased the same service, and we were connected together. We both had like these glamour shot packages done. And the
Yeah. And the
photographer said,
photographer,
hey, yeah, said, hey, I know another woman of color who's also doing comedy. And I thought, what?
exactly. Whoa.
It's like,
Yeah.
show me.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's
then we started
awesome.
talking, and then it just built from there,
Yeah, exactly.
and I also
Um,
think for that to happen,
yes.
because I've had this said to me, and I've heard of other people saying this where they're like, I have enough friends, or I don't have time for new friends.
Mm,
So you have to be open to
right.
meeting new people.
Exactly. Because for
Because you can
me,
have all the things in common, but if
yeah,
the person's like, I have enough friends, or I don't have
yeah.
time, it's dead. It's dead in the water.
Oh no, absolutely. That's what I do. That's my superpower. I'm fueled by sometimes like a fear of reaching out to others. I think, sometimes in my experience, it's been really rough to make friends. I've been burned by some friends sometimes, and it
Yeah.
hurts to kind of, get up and recover from that. So sometimes, the tent gets smaller. So I notice in myself, and I'm, working on it, that I have a fear of reaching out. I like to do stuff by myself. I don't like teamwork. Well, except for this. Except for this.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm like, what?
yeah. But yeah, it takes some time, right? So like I think back in January, you said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." It took what a plague for us to collaborate
Yeah, it
finally and
took
do
the
it.
plague, a civil war, a race war, all shit, all at once.
Yeah,
Let's
and
do
murder
this.
hornets. Don't forget the
Murder
murder
hornets.
hornets.
Aliens.
Oh,
Maybe we should move on this.
Exactly. So I saw the signs, and they happened. But yeah, there's ways to fix it. You can read uplifting things. You can take can have a plan, some self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
Set personal goals. But these things can pass if we give it the space and the mental attention to, help them improve.
Exactly. And I know what I find attractive in like friendships or people that I'm drawn to is when they're always trying to get better at
Right.
whatever it is that whatever their passion is, whether it's like an extracurricular activity or they want to do better at work or improve their health or something like that. Like I'm drawn to people who are always trying to improve or always trying to make life better
Right.
for
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
things like that, you know,
Yeah,
because that's
people
what
who
I try to do that too, you know.
Yeah, because I find that in the past I've been, well, tried to be friends with people who suck the air out of the room. Like you mentioned
Oh yes.
a conversation with your friend where she pointed out that if your sister needed advice on a similar situation, you would give different advice because you'd recognize that an unhealthy relationship. Whether it's a
Yeah.
friendship or a romantic relationship. I had a similar conversation with a sister of mine, I think in my 20s. She said, if you were being treated this way by someone you were dating, you would have dumped them. You wouldn't put up with this. That's not okay.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to look for healthy relationships and to let the ones that aren't healthy fall by the wayside if
Yeah,
they don't want to do
right.
the
And
work.
not to feel bad about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what you were saying earlier about reaching out,
Mm-hmm.
I felt that because in at the end of April, when I had when I had a cracked tooth, that happened very suddenly,
Oh,
and I was in
yeah.
agony.
Yep.
And so I went to the dentist. They referred me to a dental surgeon, and um, they scheduled me like a day or two later for surgery to extract the tooth. And one of the things they told the surgeon's office told me was, you have somebody has to take you home.
Mm.
Like we can't let you leave by yourself because they were putting me under. I'd be groggy. I wouldn't be able to drive, or it's just unsafe. It didn't. And I was like, well, what if I take an Uber? They're like, no, we can't just let you go after you had, surgery and you were drugged up, and we can't just let you go. So someone has to come and get you.
Right.
The stress and the anxiety that manifested in me, because at the time, this was at the end of April, the borders in Quebec, like between Quebec and Ontario, were closed. So my sister couldn't come, because I would have asked my sister, can you come Thursday afternoon because XYZ. So she wasn't able to come, and I was like, I don't know anybody in Ottawa that I could ask. I was like, I have no one I can ask, and I told the receptionist this. I was like, I don't have anybody I could ask. And she's like, you don't have anybody you could ask? And I was like, no. I said, I'm relatively new here. I don't know a lot of people. I I don't have anybody to ask, sort of thing. And
And
she's
it's
like,
the
well, we can't.
plague. It's the plague.
Exactly. And I was like, it's also quarantine. There's a plague. We're not supposed to be gathering with people and everything. I said, and I remember to myself thinking, that's a lot to ask of people I don't really know. But I was like, I was desperate because I was in agony. And the most humbling and upsetting and stressful thing I did was to put a thing out on Facebook saying, look, this is a situation and I need help. And I felt like I needed to sweeten the deal. I'll pay your gas, I'll buy you lunch, I'll do whatever I'll
Yeah.
do whatever. And I got inundated with like direct messages and responses of, I'll take you, I'll take you, I'll
That's
take you.
fantastic.
And I was just like, because I was like, no one's gonna want to do it because we're in a plague. And I understand that. But I also felt like it's a difficult thing to I have no issue with people reaching out to me for help. I love it.
Mhm.
If someone asks me, oh, can you drive me here? Can you help me with this? Or can you help? Yes, I will help you. And if I can't help you, I will help you find someone who can help you. But when it's for myself, like that was such a hard thing to do. And when I just got bombarded with messages of people like, I can take you. What time do you need to be there?
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, actually, I took the comedy course with her, and she came and got me,
Mhm.
brought me to the office, and then came back, picked me up, and brought me home.
Wow. That's
And
fantastic.
I was just so grateful. But
Yeah.
but yeah, reaching out, because I'm always afraid that I'm a burden, or that I'm, you know, what's the that I'm like expecting too much from people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I always feel I never want to ask anyone for assistance or for help.
Yeah, well, I was raised with the idea that you basically can't depend on people, so you got to do your shit yourself.
Yeah.
And because people will inevitably let you down. So I realize that is not the most helpful worldview. And
Yeah,
it's
like I
also,
don't
like,
have that
frankly, not
view.
true, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like people will surprise you, good and bad.
Right, right.
People will surprise you both ways.
So
You know?
there's a couple of comments in Zoom. Craig mentions that some friendships can involve work, others just unconditional acceptance. One view can be, if I drop what I'm doing to help a friend in need, is it work? For Craig, it isn't work or not work. It's just what he does, and it's reciprocated, unprompted by expectation. So I
Yes,
think
that's a
it's
very
just,
important point.
yeah, I think there's definitely a way of proceeding because you value that relationship. You want to be there. You want to be a good friend. And then
Yes, and you want to help.
exactly, and if you have picked a good friend, they will do the same for you.
Mhm.
And that
Because I've been in
that's
this
wonderful.
situation, and I know of people in this situation where if someone's done something for you, they sort of like lord it over you. Well, remember
Yeah.
that time when I did that thing for you? And
Yeah,
that's a shitty thing to do.
yeah, very
Like either
manipulative.
help or don't help,
Exactly.
you know? And it's
Exactly.
like, I'd rather have you not help me than help me and like hold it over me for the rest of my life, you know?
Absolutely.
That's shitty. That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, and oh, Ashley in the comments on Zoom mentions that her fear is that she's taking up too much space. I can relate to that, Ashley, for sure.
Same.
Like raised that way, same as me. But it is important to realize that you're deserving of space. Yes, there is nothing worse than lording help over someone. 100%, 1000% agree. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And like someone who would do that doesn't understand friendship,
Absolutely,
does not
absolutely.
understand friendship, you know,
Are there?
because I
Sorry, go ahead. Did you notice
I was gonna
anything?
say,
Comments on Facebook?
uh no, we have people watching, but there are no comments at the moment on
No
Facebook.
worries. Sorry, I think I
Yeah.
cut you off before asking
Oh,
about
I was
the
gonna
comments.
say that I had that experience of someone lording something over me. Like I didn't realize it until um probably March, early
Okay.
March. So I had a friend that I had been friends with for like 20 years, like a
Well,
long time that I met when
right.
I first moved to Toronto. And he had my perception was he had a problem when I started doing comedy. Like he wasn't supportive. He was
Hmm.
very like critical, not like constructive, like critical, like almost angry at me. And then I
Was
remember
that a dream that he had shared at one point?
yeah, like we used to talk about like how we both had like a love of comedy.
Mm,
We both had a huge love of comedy, and I think I had shared like I'd always wanted to do it, sort of thing. And when I signed up for the course, he was like,
mm,
"Oh, that's great, that's great." But I think when he realized that I was actually good at
yeah.
it, and like kept um, working to get better and
Hmm.
trying to get spots and trying to improve, he took that personally somehow.
Wow.
And we ended up having like a big blowout on the phone and we didn't talk for
Hmm.
months. We didn't talk for a few months. And then, so this happened in like, yeah, it was before Christmas. So like
Wow.
early
Yeah.
December or something. We didn't talk until March. And the thing is, it's like when we were talking, he's like, you should have called me. And I was like, well, we weren't talking.
Yeah.
So why would I call you?
Yeah.
And he's like, I did
You
all,
don't get the
yeah,
perks.
exactly. We're not talking. So I'm, calling you is not on my list. But then he
Mhm.
listed all that I did this for you. I did that for you. I did this for you. How could you say, that, how could you say I didn't support you when I did this and this and this and this? And I was like, whoa, and it was
Yeah.
at that moment I was like, this wasn't as much as it hurt. I was like,
Hmm.
this person wasn't my friend.
No.
He
No.
was my friend as long as like I didn't like overshadow him or something, or I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. As long
It
as you
felt
stayed in
like
your box.
And yeah, I stayed as long as I stayed in my lane, and as long
Mhm.
as I kind of needed him, sort of thing, or he felt needed, sort of thing. Because the thing is with the comedy, I didn't need him for you know what I mean? It was like that was my own thing. And I worked on it on my own. I didn't really share much with him. Like it was, if I did a set or something and I recorded it, I would send it to him, but he would tear it apart. And so I stopped sending it to him,
No, there's a
you
difference
know.
between getting constructive feedback
Yes. And just
and
yeah,
having something
exactly.
like shat on.
Yeah, exactly. And he would just shit on it. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this isn't, but it wasn't even that. It was just well, I did this for you. And remember that time when I did that for you. And, how could you
Right,
say
so
this?
he's
Because I
keeping a
did this
tab. He's
to him.
keeping a
Yeah,
list that he's going at.
keeping score. And it's like,
Yeah, counting doesn't work in friendships.
no, no, no. And it's like, I've cut people off for less. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to test you.
Yeah,
I'm not going to test our friendship. It's like, that's such bullshit.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
That's,
So there's a couple of comments in Zoom.
okay.
Ashley mentioned same. A friend did stuff to help without her asking, then would say, "Look at all I do for you," whenever they disagreed. And
Yeah.
people like that, as she says, need drama and seek to cause it. I completely
Yes.
agree with that.
I agree too. Yeah.
Hamilton says another thing about friends is that it's okay to have different levels or types of friends. It's true. There are tried and true ones and also more situational ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I used to have, like years ago in Toronto, I used to have a friend. This friend, we just went out.
Mhm.
Every 2 weeks, we went out. We'd go out, get drunk, party, and maybe an email. This was before text, maybe an email in between or a phone call.
Yep.
And it was like clockwork. Like every 2 weeks, it was like, hey, you want to go out? Yeah. And we'd meet and go out.
Cool.
And that was our relationship. And that was fine because it worked for both of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the idea that digital interaction makes it harder to socialize in real life? Do you think that's true or just a myth?
No, I think it's true because I think in terms of like dating, not just friendship, but dating, um, if something isn't instant, it's like, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying that, I've done it too, where if you don't feel like a spark or something right away with someone, you tend to you write them off or you swipe left or something that like we've forgotten, because like I like came of age before the internet and all of that, where you had to go places to meet people, where
Yeah.
it's like you met people in places. Like if you want to meet someone, you went to a party or you went to an event or something, where now it gets a blessing and a curse. But I think we, all of us, have lost that personal touch, that if we don't feel something instantly, that it's not worth pursuing.
Well,
And
I find the opposite because, especially in COVID times, I'm noticing my social interaction is off the hook. There was like at the start of it, I was missing people. I was kind of feeling, I thought I was an introvert before all of this happened. And then I missed people so much. I kind of thought, okay, I'm clearly not an introvert, but maybe
are not
like
like
a broken,
100%, yeah.
yeah, like a broken extrovert. And so like,
Confused extrovert.
yeah, exactly. Like an extrovert who's been burned by those crappy friendships, right? Or
Okay.
like the expectation that, hasn't served me well. Maybe, like there's on both sides perhaps. But as the weeks of COVID time have continued, I found new ways to connect. And I spent the last 2 weeks, I was saying before we started the show, that I was technically on vacation and I haven't been as busy, like creatively busy, in a really long time. And most of it was because of the new friendships and new connections that I made online using digital tools. And,
Right.
like crossing borders, crossing distance, and everything, like all of that collapsed. And all that was left were relationships. So I was just,
Yeah.
I had warm fuzzies, feelings after doing a couple of, creative workshops, and like if there's a writing group I'm in, and so I just was busy, busy, busy. Oh, and another project, like it was a creative project that everyone's going to see more of, because I'm going to share the shit out of it when it's ready. But basically a creative project about healing. And I went and did like a recording for it yesterday. But I've been so busy, and these are people I never would have met or become friends with if not for digital connections.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I said, I mean, especially in these times,
Mm-hmm.
because we're all in the same boat, we're all isolated, we don't have the luxury of, hey, let's go for a coffee, or hey, let's go for
Right.
dinner or something. So I
Yeah.
think with us all being in the same boat,
Mm-hmm.
that digital connections have improved.
Mm.
So say like meeting people online and forging relationships with people online today are different than they were, say, 3 months ago,
Right. Right.
you know, because I've made new friends,
Yeah.
and these are people that I may not have, it's in some cases, I may have run into them, like if they're local, I would have run into them at some point, but maybe I might not have, you know, become friends with them.
Yeah.
I've met people in the States, I've met people in the UK, just because it's like, I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone to be like, oh, click, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
To meet people in like different cities and different countries and things like that. And I think because globally we were all in this, it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to go outside. When the rest of the world is outside, I'm going to stay online and try and meet people there, which is different than, you know, if you have like when you have the choice of being inside or outside,
Mm-hmm.
more people are going to choose outside versus inside. So I think the people that are still inside, maybe a little iffy, sketchy, maybe, I don't know. But I think with everyone in that boat,
Yep.
where, yeah, we can't freely just go out and say, oh, hey, let's go meet for a coffee, or I'm gonna,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, come
Exactly.
over.
We're
Yeah,
forced to
so
look for alternatives.
exactly. So we're all in like Jane Austen times, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Where it's like, you know, you're talking, we're not just texting each other or messaging each other to say, hey,
Yeah.
okay, I'm running late, or I'm going to be, do you want to meet me here? You want to meet me there? We're having conversations. We're getting to know people. You know, we're trying
Yeah.
to, you know, establish relationships with these people. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think
Because even
that's
like
the
the
big difference.
Yeah, because even like the phone conversations that I have, they're layered, they're longer, there's more depth than
Sure.
conversations on the phone used to be throwaway
Yeah.
before COVID, or transactional. But there's so much more. They remind me of the conversations I used to have in high school with my BFFs, where you'd be on the phone for hours, and then you're
Yeah.
go off the phone because they needed to use
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And during that phone call, until your
Yeah.
parents told you to get the hell off the phone, you
Yeah.
talked about everything and you discovered
Everything.
everything. And we're doing that now. And Ashley actually just put a really interesting and true. She said, we
Mhm.
are courting one another, even friendships.
Yes.
And that's so true. That's like so beautifully put. We're courting each other.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, because we realize that we don't have the benefit of, oh, we'll just meet in person and figure it out. It's like, no,
Hmm.
you know, we want to establish something before, so that like when we're all allowed to go outside and possibly touch each other again, it's like, yeah, I want to go touch that person. you know,
Yeah, you know what?
you know what I
Not
mean? I want to
hugging
go
people
meet this person,
sucks.
and yeah, it's like I want to meet people, you know, we're being more selective, just like how we were saying, like when you get to a certain age, you're more selective. I
Yeah.
think we're being more selective because we know, like, I think because our we took for granted our health and
Yeah.
the ability to just go wherever, whenever,
Yeah.
that we know now that, okay, there's probably a second and maybe third wave coming,
Mm.
that we're establishing these relationships. And it's like, okay, if we go into like lockdown 2, lockdown 2.0,
Yeah.
I want you and you in my circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's so
because I
true.
like you people, I like you guys, and I don't I know I'm speaking for myself because I was isolated. I was alone the whole time. And it was like, no, I would love to have, to be able to say, okay, 10 people, these are my
Yeah.
10 people. These are my 10 people.
Yeah, these are my
You know,
people.
these are my people. And we don't need to wear masks around each other.
Yeah. You can hug.
You can hug. Yeah, like my sister and brother-in-law came to visit last weekend, and I almost sobbed. Like I was hugging my brother-in-law and I
Mhm.
felt like I was gonna cry. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No,
Well,
no."
yeah, because we're like, this is like our fundamental wiring. I remember seeing articles of orphanages in Eastern Europe. I think it was under the Ceausescu regime, where children were in cribs and not touched, not hugged, not consoled. And
That's
there were significant issues after that. So people are not built for isolation,
exactly.
and there's going to be a lot of trouble after that people need to work through, and hopefully there'll be support for those who don't have the means to pay for it, because we're all going through something, and
Exactly.
friendships
Exactly.
are wired for friendship and contact.
And contact. Because like why do you think that in like prison the worst punishment is isolation? You're put in a
Right,
hole.
right.
You're put in a hole for like and it's also supposed to be limited. You're not supposed to be in there for longer than 30 days or something, where people are
Yeah,
put in there for like months on end, and they
yeah,
go mad because the thing is, it's like we're supposed to be social. We're supposed to be, just by nature of being human, we're social beings.
yeah,
We need interaction with others. And
yeah.
I think it's one of the Scandinavian countries. I think it's Sweden that, and I remember hearing this maybe 2 months ago,
Hmm.
a month or two ago, that when they were going into their second wave of quarantine, or second stage, I should say, of like opening things up, that I
Hmm.
think it was their public health minister or
Okay.
someone of that level saying that they're making allowances for people to have sex, to couple up with somebody, because they realize how important touch and interaction and emotion and stuff like that, how important it is to people.
Hmm.
That
Very
it's like, okay,
interesting.
you can go out and find somebody. Well, you don't necessarily have to sleep with them, but find someone that you want to isolate with,
Yeah,
because
exactly,
they
exactly.
understand what like how important it is to how that that component of like human development or human relationships, like how crucial it is.
Yeah. There's a couple of comments here related
Yes.
to the essentialness, the digital platform, and how essential that interaction is. Hamilton says part of the problem is that digital and in-person interaction are two different skill sets. And with the world rushing at full speed to move everything online, pre-COVID, the in-person skills are being neglected. Even
Yeah.
FaceTime online is still two or more people by themselves talking to the computer or phone box. That's
Yeah.
very true. And then Ashley clarifies for her comment about the courting. She is a professional writer. That's
Yes.
why that comment was so awesome. And then Hamilton says, it's like that, and that's the way it is. And then he says, who are your guys? I guess he's asking, Hamilton, are you asking who our people are, who our 10 are? Or like what they're like. And then Ashley mentions, I guess we were talking about the importance of touch and those children in the
Yeah.
orphanage.
And
And she
how
mentioned
difficult isolation is. Yeah.
exactly, and she mentions that's but like she had an experience where she was in the ICU where she was 5 months old and not touched for 2 weeks, and now touch is complicated. My son, like the first 2 months of his life, ICU, like a neonatal ICU, and one of the things that was the most heart-wrenching for me with that experience was not being able to hold him, because I remember we worked with a midwife, and I remember hearing that like initial contact with the parents is where you build bonds. And I was grieving that for the first 2 months, because like like attached by tubes, couldn't touch. And then, like breastfeeding became complicated. And I just thought, can't get that back. Like, how do you get that back? And felt like a cost. But no, I can completely understand. And she said it was 1983. They flat out refused to let her parents hold her. Jesus, I can't even imagine how your parents would have felt, because
Yeah.
I know for me, it was like gut wrenching. It was just so much crying. But that's how, touch is our early ways of communicating with our next generation. It's hard when you can't do that.
Well,
And
the thing
even
is,
like,
in hospitals now, they have volunteers
Yeah.
who hold the babies.
Yeah, I loved
Like in
that
ICU
because,
and everything, like when the parents aren't there,
yeah.
that they hold, that's their job, is to hold these babies.
Oh yeah,
And
I was so grateful to
Yeah.
those volunteers, because once there were fewer tubes and connections, the volunteer could hold him. But there was one, I think, one Blues Fest evening where just everybody was trying to hold him, and he refused to be consoled. And like even my husband went down. I was trying to hold him, and he just kept. So I had to. I think I was recovering still from C-section, I think. And I had to like take a cab all the way down, and I held him, and he finally stopped crying, because the who was touching, I guess, made a difference. Yeah, exactly. And then after that, I had to camp out there. But the bottom line is, well, those volunteers who provide those methods of connection, like, essential.
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Because there's even something like, where did I hear this? Oh, it's on a podcast that I listened to. It's called Other People's Lives. It's
Yeah.
very interesting. So they speak to people who have like just an interesting or a weird story. And a few years ago, they spoke to someone who was a professional cuddler.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've
So
heard of
like
those.
people would call, I can't remember if the person was male or female, but they would call this person, like they advertised on Craigslist or back pages or something like that. And it was not sexual. And people would call this person, and this person would go to your house and like hold you. Like you'd cuddle on the couch, or
Yeah,
you cuddle in bed, and they would just, like, there was no sexual activity, like no intercourse,
yeah.
no kissing or anything, but it was just to hold, and I was like, damn. Like, it's like touch and not
Yeah,
sexual touch, just touch is so
exactly. So
important.
I can't wait till that can happen with our friends.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
And
I
then
know, like
also,
hugging my sister and my brother-in-law last week.
yeah,
Oh, it
yeah,
it
like a
it
treat.
fed my soul. Like it was a treat, because I hadn't hugged any. And you guys know me, I'm a hugger. Like if I like you, I'm gonna hug you. I'll ask, but I'll hug you. And I hadn't hugged anybody. I hadn't touched anybody in 3 months.
Yeah.
Because the last time I was like with other people was when I performed at Swizzles in on March 14th, like right before a few days, and we were doing the elbow, not even a handshake. We were just
Oh,
touching
even then.
elbows.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, we were like elbows, and I was like, this is weird, but we all might die, so okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Hamilton says something here. If you
Sorry,
were
I had some it's like musical accompaniment on my side. It's like, what? But
Yeah,
yeah.
some of the comments are pretty interesting. Like Hamilton has, I think attachment disorder is what happens when newborns aren't touched, and it can make it impossible for them to form human bonds even as adults.
Yeah, so it gets definitely complicated.
Yeah.
But I think we should do a whole topic on the touch part, because
Yes.
I think it goes into topics of like intimacy, because I think that's something that can get complicated, whether like in a friendship or a romantic relationship. Not
Yeah.
everybody is good at the idea of handling intimacy, like just,
Yeah.
you know,
And intimacy doesn't always mean sex.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like I know
But
if you hear intimacy, you think,
yeah,
you know,
no, it's a
you think
continuum,
sex.
right?
It's not, yeah, it's not only sex, I should say. It's not only
Absolutely.
sex.
Yeah, it's just
It's
about
just like
being,
being vulnerable with somebody. Yeah.
absolutely. That's a good way of describing it. And I guess when it comes to being a good friend and making it easier to make friends after 40s, what are some of the things that people can take away with them today? We're approaching near the end of the program, but what can we leave people with when it comes to what they can do to make it easier as they get older, as dynamics change when it comes to making quality friends?
I would say first and foremost to be open to making new friends. I think that's crucial. And also to not take it personally if someone doesn't want to be your friend.
Okay.
You know, I don't think they should be cruel about it. Um, but yeah, for some people it's like, nope, you know, my cup is full. I have all the people I need. I don't need any more. And that's fine. And
Okay.
um, you know, being rejected isn't easy. It hurts, but I would say to not take it personally if someone doesn't want you in their tribe. And it's probably a blessing if they don't want you in their tribe.
I think for me, when I reflect on, who I'd put in my 10, definitely people who who allow me to be vulnerable and be myself. So I don't need to,
Yes.
perform Dawn. I can just be Dawn. That's
Yeah.
refreshing. And
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
definitely. So I think that like my takeaways from of making friends over 40 have been basically being clear with boundaries, like knowing what I want. Just like, do I want to talk about superficial crap or do I want depth? For example, when you're meeting new friends, people tell you who they are and believe them. And so it makes life easier. So don't try to fix a friend. It's not a fixer upper job. You work with what you've got, and if
Take
it's
them
not
as is or
exactly, or move
yeah,
on. Like, don't waste
exactly.
time. And
Exactly.
also, like, don't be an asshole. So,
That's
if you want to be a friend,
across the board.
if you want a good friend, be a
You
good
have to
friend.
be a good friend. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. And there was something I was going to add to that as well. And it was I was going to add to something that you had said earlier. Um, oh shoot, I can't even.
Oh, was it about people in your 10?
Yeah, it was what you had said, like some of the stuff you had said just now.
Oh,
Um, the people in your 10
the boundaries.
boundaries. Oh,
When
shoot.
people tell you who they are.
It was before that.
Oh,
Some of the stuff you said.
no worries, no worries.
Some of the stuff you said before that. Um, uh, I can't remember.
Oh, no
But I
worries.
mean,
It could be another post because this is not
yeah. But
an
the main
exhaustive
thing
discussion
is,
by any stretch.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It yeah. We could go on for days. But I think like one of the main things is being open to it, not taking it personally if someone for whatever reason doesn't want to be in your tribe. I think it was related to like you can't change people. That
Right.
like what you said, people show you who they are, and to
Right.
recognize that and like realize like and decide, can I deal with the person with what they're presenting me or not? And
Right.
if it's or not, then you've got to move on. You got to move on. You got to move away.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't, if someone can't appreciate you for who you are, they're not seeing who you are, and you don't need somebody like that.
No, absolutely. Life is short.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. Like I remember both you and Ashley had said that I don't seem shy or awkward or anything. That's a testament to that. I can be myself.
Oh, Oh, thank you. No,
Yeah.
that means a lot. Because life is hard enough. No need
Yeah.
for friendships to make it
It
harder.
ain't easy being green. You know?
True. True.
But yeah, so it's like I feel like I know if I'm put in a situation where I don't know anybody or whatever, it's like one of two things will happen. Either I'll like have to muster up all this energy and be like outgoing and go and talk to people and introduce myself, or I'll like, you know, shrink and like
Oh, I don't
retreat
know if
sort of
you've
thing.
not seen me ghost after comedy shows. No, I remember just like I was telling someone about I think it was Bureaucracy, like one show. Just kind of walked in and I was just like, I don't know. I don't feel like hanging out. And I just kind of like, to the Uber,
Toodles.
and it was just like, oh my God, like people would probably just, don't think that this is a good look, but you know what? It worked for me that couple of nights. So
Well, yeah, and the thing is, yeah, if you don't feel comfortable in an environment, there you shouldn't
nah,
stay.
no,
You know, if
exactly.
you're
Just
not
like
comfortable,
got stuff to
it
do.
doesn't matter the situation. If you feel like, ugh, I shouldn't be here,
Yeah.
you have every right to leave. You know, because that's like torture if you've got to stay there. If you're like, I gotta be here and have fun. No, you don't.
This is my fun
absolutely don't.
face.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm fine. This is it's all great. No, you can freaking leave if you need to.
Exactly.
And
Like,
that's something that another friend of mine had said. You know, she's like, if you don't want to be here, you can go. And she didn't say it like, get the fuck out. You know, she was like, if you're ready to leave, leave. You
right,
don't owe an
right.
explanation to anybody.
Yeah,
Go,
be
just go.
you.
And it's like, yeah, see ya.
Yeah.
Gonna leave,
Oh,
sort of
exactly,
thing.
exactly. All right. And on that note, I should probably see. I gotta cook supper. So,
Okay.
but
We-
yeah, this has been a great conversation, and hopefully it won't be
Another
as
one we
long
can
of a gap.
revisit later on too. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Life lessons.
for sure, for sure.
All right. So I've been Dawn Zanklin,
I'm Simone Holder.
and this has been Black Don't Crack for July 4th.
July 4th, 2020, year of the plague
And murder hornets.
and murder hornets and the race war.
Oh, God.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.